how to spark her desire, even if she ignores you. Female psychology. Welcome to the place where we don't just talk about attraction, we understand it like reading the room with your eyes closed today. We're going straight into a question a lot of men carry quietly. How do you make a woman desire you when she's not showing interest, when she's polite, distant, or acts like you're just there? Here's the truth. Desire isn't a light switch, it's a temperature, and temperature can change. As Leo Tolstoy said, where there is love, there is life. That means what looks dead today can still come alive tomorrow. If you know how to bring the right life into the moment, don't confuse not interested right now with never women rarely move in straight lines. Emotionally, sometimes she's not rejecting you. She's reacting to your energy, your timing, your presentation, your certainty. That's why one small shift in your mindset can change the way you walk into a room and the way she feels when you're in it. So if you've ever looked at her and thought, I don't stand a chance, stop. That sentence is not a fact, it's a habit. Replace it with action. Be calm, not needy. Be present, not performing. Don't chase her attention. Build a vibe that makes attention come to you. That's where the psychology really begins. Confidence that doesn't beg charm, that doesn't try too hard. Emotional presence that feels safe and strong at the same time. And yes, subtle triggers matter. The way you hold eye contact just a second longer, the way you speak with certainty instead of approval, seeking the way you make her feel seen without making her feel pressured. Because the goal isn't to force desire, the goal is to become the kind of man her mind can relax around and her heart can get curious about. So don't sit around waiting for the perfect moment. Create it step by step, quietly, powerfully, and remember, it starts with confidence, a genuine smile, and the decision to show up like you belong there. Section 1. The eye contact that changes everything. Eye contact is not a casual detail in attraction. It is the silent language that decides whether connection stays shallow or becomes unforgettable. And if you want to understand how to make a woman desire you, even when interest seems faint or uncertain, this is where you must begin. Don't rush it. Don't scatter your attention. Be intentional. Most men look, but very few truly see. And that difference changes everything. This is not about staring or forcing intensity that repels rather than attracts. This is about emotionally aware eye contact, calm and grounded, the kind that makes her nervous in a good way because it feels rare. Pay attention to her left eye. That detail matters more than most. Realize research in female psychology suggests that sustained, gentle focus on the left eye can stimulate oxytocin, the chemical tied to emotional bonding, trust, and closeness. This is the same hormone released during moments of comfort, vulnerability, and emotional safety. That is not manipulation. That is biology responding to presence. When you look into her left eye with warmth, instead of hunger, with patience instead of pressure, something shifts. Her body relaxes, her guard lowers, her mind stops racing. That is how to fall in love begins quietly internally before she ever says a word. Be still, breathe. Let the moment stretch just 1 second longer than feels comfortable, then soften your expression. That is where connection lives. Don't talk your way through it. Silence here is strength. That is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in modern dating. Knowing when not to speak. Your eyes should communicate what your mouth does not need to say. I see you, I respect you, you are safe here. You must understand this clearly. Attraction grows where safety and curiosity meet, when your gaze carries calm confidence and emotional control. Her nervous system notices before her. Logic does. This is why words alone rarely create desire. Words can be impressive. Words can even charm. But words are easy to doubt. Eyes are not eyes, reveal intention. They reveal steadiness. They reveal emotional maturity. And in female psychology, emotional steadiness is magnetic. Don't overdo it. Don't perform. Be present. Let her feel that you are fully there, not trying to get something, not chasing validation, not proving worth. That grounded presence is what separates forgettable interactions from moments she replays later in her mind. This is how to fall in love unfolds not through clever lines, not through pressure, but through subtle emotional signals delivered with precision. Remember, this desire is not forced, it is invited. And when your eye contact invites rather than demands, when it carries warmth instead of urgency, you stop blending in. You become distinct, you become memorable. These psychology tricks work not because they are tricks, but because they align with how human connection actually functions. Master this and you won't need to convince her of anything she will feel at first. Section 2. The scent of subtle seduction. Scent is one of the most underestimated forces in attraction, yet it works quietly, consistently, and far beneath conscious thought. And if you truly want to understand how to make a woman desire you even when interest feels uncertain, you must stop ignoring it. Don't think of fragrance as decoration, be clear. That is a mistake most men make. Scent is memory. Scent is emotion. Scent goes straight past logic and into the part of the brain where feelings live, and female psychology responds to it faster than words ever could. Studies show that when a man wears a fragrance that suits him, his confidence rises, and here's the part most men miss. Others feel that confidence before he even speaks. That is how you attract women without chasing or explaining yourself a high value. Man understands this. He doesn't overpower a room with scent. He leaves a trace subtle clean. Intentional. You must choose a fragrance that feels like an extension of who you already are, not a costume. Cheap, loud scents create noise. Quiet, well-chosen ones create curiosity. That curiosity is the doorway to desire. Think of your scent as an invisible signature. You enter the room, you speak, you laugh, you leave, and something of you stays behind. Imagine this moment. You are not there. Days later, she walks past someone or opens a door or catches a faint, familiar note in the air instantly without trying. Her mind goes back to you, that hug, that conversation, that calm moment where she felt seen. Boom! That is not fantasy. That is psychology. Tricks working exactly as designed. Scent anchors emotion to memory. It makes feelings repeat themselves. That is how attraction deepens when you are not even present. A high-value man understands his power and uses it with restraint. Don't rush, don't layer 5 fragrances, be intentional. One scent, one identity, one emotional association. You must also match scent to energy. Masculine energy is not about force, it is about steadiness. Are you calm and grounded? Choose woody, warm, musky tones that feel solid and reassuring. Are you more intense, thoughtful? Slightly mysterious, lean into spice leather. Or dark citrus. Not sharp, not aggressive. Balanced female psychology responds strongly to balance when your scent matches your demeanor. Something aligns, she feels consistency. Consistency builds trust. Trust opens desire. This is how to fall in love. Often begins not with grand gestures, but with repeated emotional safety. Small details like this do the work while you stay relaxed. That is the advantage you don't need. Clever lines, you don't need pressure, you must simply show up, well prepared and emotionally aware. A fragrance chosen with care creates intimacy without a single word. That is power done quietly. That is how a high value man moves. When your presence, your scent, and your masculine energy tell the same story, you naturally attract women who feel drawn, curious, and comfortable leaning closer. And when attraction feels effortless, desire follows on its own. Section 3. Natural ways to crush anxiety. So she feels your real vibe. Section 3 is where you stop trying to perform and start letting your real presence do the work. Because the biggest thing that blocks attraction for most men isn't your looks, your lines, or your money. It's the shaky energy that anxiety puts into your voice, your eyes, your posture, and your timing. Anxiety is common, especially when she doesn't seem interested at first, but you must treat it like a signal, not a sentence. Handle it. Lead yourself first, as Marcus Aurelius said. You have power over your mind. Not outside events, that's old Stoic wisdom and one clean blade control. What's yours and your vibe follows. Now, you don't have to wrestle your nerves with sheer willpower alone. There are natural options some men use to feel more grounded and steady. And when you're steady, you stop chasing approval and start projecting calm certainty. L-theanine, the calming compound found in green tea, is often used to take the edge off without knocking you out. Sharp mind, relaxed body, that's the sweet spot. Ashwagandha is another popular choice. Many people use it to help the body handle stress by supporting healthier cortisol patterns, which can translate into feeling calmer when pressure hits magnesium. Glycinate is widely used to ease tension and support better sleep. And sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is your confidence engine. If you're not resting, you're not regulated. And if you're not regulated, you will overthink every move and leak neediness through micro behaviors. You don't even notice. Do not do that. Be calm, be present, be disciplined. That is how you let attraction happen naturally, but listen carefully. Supplements are not magic, and they're not for everyone, especially if you have medical conditions or take medications. So you must use common sense and talk to a healthcare professional before adding anything new. The real win is the principle behind it. Reduce inner noise so your authentic self can come forward, because attraction doesn't grow in the soil of desperation. It grows in the calm of self-respect. Seneca put it plainly, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Translation for modern life, you're not losing her. You're losing the moment by arguing with the story in your head. Shut the story down. Stand tall, speak slower. Breathe lower. Keep your life full, keep your mission clear when you do that. Even if she wasn't interested at first, she finally gets to feel your real vibe, grounded, warm, and certain. That's the energy people trust. That's the energy people remember. That's the energy that makes her lean in. Not because you push, but because you stabilize the space. This is the Stoic way in action. Not chasing, not forcing, not begging. Just mastering yourself. Carry that iron mind into every conversation. Every approach, every silence, repeat it until it becomes your identity. Old Stoic wisdom builds an iron mind, and an iron mind makes your presence undeniable. Stoicism win isn't a slogan. It's a standard. If this hit home, don't just nod and move on. Act, drop a comment right now and lock it in. I am calm, grounded, and my presence creates desire. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp, unshakable psychology. And remind yourself daily attraction begins when anxiety ends and confidence takes over. Section 4. Call someone who loves you first. Before you walk into that date, do one quiet thing that most men overlook, but that changes everything. Call someone who already loves you. Call the parent who knows your story. Call a best friend who has seen you win and lose. Call a sibling who reminds you who you were before you started doubting yourself. Do it first. Do it intentionally because this is not about conversation. It's about state hearing. A familiar, supportive voice settles your nervous system, slows your breathing, and brings you back into balance. Science calls it calming the body. Psychology tricks call it resetting your frame. Either way, it works because it reminds you of a simple truth. You are already valued. You are already accepted. You are not walking into that room hoping to be chosen. You are walking in already whole. That is the difference most men never feel, and women sense it instantly. Don't rush this call. Let your body soften. Let your shoulders drop. Let your smile become natural instead of forced. Be present. Be grounded. That calm becomes your baseline, and from that place, everything you say carries more weight. This is where female psychology quietly shifts when a man enters a space without tension, without chasing approval, without performing something, changes in how he's received. She may not be able to explain it, but she feels safer, more curious, more open. That's how to fall in love begins, not through clever lines, but through emotional steadiness. Don't confuse this with trying to impress. Don't try harder. Try calmer. That is the move. When you're regulated, you listen better. Your eye contact feels warmer. Your pauses feel confident. You stop filling silence with noise, and silence used well is one of the most powerful psychology tricks there is. This grounded presence communicates self-assurance without needing to prove anything. It tells her without words, I enjoy being here, and I'm fine. Either way, that is magnetic. That is what female psychology responds to over time. You must understand this attraction grows where pressure disappears by calling someone who loves you first. You remove the hidden pressure that sabotages so many connections. You stop auditioning. You start sharing space, and when she experiences that emotional steadiness, she associates it with how she feels around you. Calm, serene, relaxed. That emotional experience becomes the hook. She may not know why she wants to see you again, but she will because you didn't ask for connection. You embodied it. That is how to fall in love. Unfolds naturally, not by chasing interest, but by arriving already complete, already steady, already enough. Section 5. Ditch the predictable date. Plan an emotional experience. Section 5 is where most men either stay forgettable or become unforgettable, and the difference comes down to one decision. Ditch the predictable date and plan an emotional experience. Most men default to what feels safe: dinner coffee, a movie comfortable, familiar, and completely neutral. Don't misunderstand, those dates aren't wrong, they're just flat. They don't create emotional movement. An attraction never grows in flat emotional space. If you want to change how she sees you, you must change how she feels. That is the rule. Sitting across from each other, under bright lights, talking between bites puts you in a category she already knows. Be different. Be intentional. Be memorable instead of a table and menus. Choose an experience that sparks curiosity, excitement, or just a hint of unpredictability. A spontaneous drive to a scenic overlook. A quirky escape room where you solve problems together. Axe throwing, zip-lining salsa. Dancing, a secret concert. A strange art exhibit that makes her laugh and say, "This is weird. I kind of love it." These moments matter because emotion creates memory and memory creates attachment. When you make her feel something unusual, thrilling or unexpected, her mind links those feelings to you. That is not manipulation. That is psychology working the way it always has. Psychologists call it misattribution of arousal. In simple terms, when her heart beats faster because of the situation, part of her starts to wonder why she feels that way around you. That question is powerful. Don't explain it. Let her feel it. This is how a high value man thinks. He doesn't try to impress with money or talk. He creates experiences, he leads with presence. He understands that to attract women, you don't sell yourself. You invite them into a moment. They don't want to end these non traditional dates. Also, do something subtle but important. They pull her out of the mental box she may have placed you in. You're no longer the nice guy from coffee or the dinner date. You become the man she associates with. Laughter, adrenaline, surprise, and shared stories that shift changes how she relates to you emotionally. And emotion is where desire grows. Be aware of this. Masculine energy isn't about force or control. It's about direction. It's about saying, I've got this, follow me when you plan an experience. Instead of asking, what do you want to do? You signal calm leadership that's attractive. A high value man doesn't overthink reactions. He watches how she lights up. He listens. He adapts. He stays present. And the more she feels alive around you, the more she wants to be near you again. Don't chase chemistry. Create conditions for it. Don't repeat what every other man does. Stand apart. Be the man who understands that attraction is emotional. First logical, later. That is how you attract women. That is how masculine energy is felt, not explained. And once she connects those elevated emotions to you, she won't just remember the date, she'll remember how she felt being with you. And that's the beginning of Desire Section 6. Show your confidence in subtle social ways, even when interest isn't obvious yet. Understand this deeply. Attraction is rarely built by clever lines or force charm. It is built by presence. One of the most overlooked displays of presence is how you move through the world. When she is watching without realizing, she is watching especially in social moments that have nothing to do with her directly on a date. The way you treat the waiter, the bartender, the hostess, or even a stranger nearby quietly broadcasts your inner structure. Confidence is not something you turn on for one person. It is a default setting. Women feel that instantly. That is why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This line, rooted in old Stoic wisdom, applies perfectly. Here be courteous, calm, grounded, and respectful, not as a performance, but as a reflection of your iron mind. When she sees you handle small interactions smoothly, she registers safety, maturity, and self-command that calms her nervous system without a single word being spoken. This is how desire begins to grow beneath the surface, because a man who can navigate social spaces with ease sends a clear signal that he can handle pressure, uncertainty, and awkward moments without cracking in modern life where stress is constant and emotional chaos is everywhere. That ability is magnetic. You are not trying to impress. You are demonstrating stability. Stability mixed with quiet charisma is rare. That is why Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Your behavior should flow naturally from who you are, not from who you hope to appear to be. This is exactly where the Stoic way shows up in real dating situations. When you embody old Stoic wisdom, you stop chasing reactions and start setting a tone. She notices how others respond to you, how you keep your composure, how you don't seek validation, how you remain courteous even when there's nothing to gain that signals value without needing to announce it. Repeat this principle until it is burned into your iron mind. Attraction grows when a woman feels she is in the presence of a man who is steady, socially fluent, and emotionally self governed. A man who does not rise or fall with every moment, a man whose confidence is quiet but unmistakable. When you live this consistently on dates at work and in daily life, you stop trying to make women desire you because desire becomes the natural response to the man you have become. That is the true lesson of the Stoic way. The power of an iron mind and the timeless pull of old Stoic wisdom. Applied in the modern world, if this hit home, don't just watch and move on, take action. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp, no nonsense psychology, and engage with the channel. And most importantly, drop this comment below to lock the lesson in your mind and show you get it. True confidence is how I treat the world, not how I try to impress her. Section 7. Pay the bill. Quietly, assertively. This is where many men quietly lose ground without realizing it, because money itself is not the issue. Behavior is female psychology is always watching how you move in moments that don't ask for attention. So don't announce anything. Don't reach for your wallet with drama. Don't turn generosity into a performance because real confidence never asks to be applauded. It simply acts. That is the psychology trick most men miss instead. Stay calm, stay present, keep the conversation flowing. And when the moment creates space, maybe she steps away for a second. You take care of it without a word, without a look around, without expectation. Because this single act communicates more than compliments ever could. It says you're decisive without being loud, thoughtful without keeping score, generous without needing validation. And that is how to fall in love without forcing it. Because female psychology responds to emotional safety and quiet certainty, not display. So be the man who handles things smoothly, not the one who seeks approval for doing so. Be grounded, be subtle, be intentional, because when you pay quietly, you show leadership without pressure. You show care without control. You show self-respect without comparison. And those signals sink deep on a subconscious level. These psychology tricks work because they align with how attraction actually forms, not through words, but through patterns, consistency, and emotional tone. And when she notices that you don't need credit for doing the right thing, it creates curiosity, comfort, and trust, which are the foundations of desire. So don't turn the bill into a moment. Make it invisible, because invisible strength is memorable. And this is where many men misunderstand how to fall in love. From her perspective, they think effort must be visible, but female psychology is drawn to effort that feels natural, effortless, and secure. So you must stop trying to impress and start allowing your actions to speak quietly. Don't explain yourself. Don't justify yourself. Don't seek a reaction, because the absence of need is the presence of confidence, and that confidence creates emotional gravity. These psychology tricks aren't about manipulation. They're about alignment with how human attraction truly works. So be intentional, be composed, be consistent, and understand that every small moment like this either builds attraction or dissolves it. Because how to fall in love isn't about one grand gesture. It's about many small, steady signals that say, I've got this, without ever needing to say it. And when you master that rhythm, female psychology responds naturally, calmly, and deeply. Because desire grows best where nothing is forced and everything feels safe. certain and quietly strong. Section 8, don't rush the kiss. Build the mystery. One of the biggest mistakes men make at the end of a date is rushing the kiss, thinking that speed equals confidence when in reality it often signals uncertainty. Because a high value man understands, remember, attraction, expands in space, not pressure. Never confuse patience with delay. Never think the evening requires a dramatic finale to feel memorable. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay selective, because restraint is not weakness, it is deliberate. Closing the date with a gentle hug and a sincere, I enjoyed our time together may seem simple, yet simplicity used well carries power. That is where masculine presence communicates without speaking. You should realize this when you avoid rushing. You let curiosity slowly breathe, and curiosity becomes one of the strongest emotional forces when you aim to attract women. Allow her leave, carrying quiet questions. Allow her replay the evening inside her thoughts. Later, allow her imagine how the next moment with you might truly feel, because anticipation gently strengthens attraction, while urgency slowly weakens it. This is not theory. This reflects basic psychology. A high value man never forces what he desires. He designs moments where desire naturally moves toward him. Never chase closure, never demand instant reassurance. Be the man who leaves her feeling emotionally satisfied yet mentally intrigued. That balance is uncommon and scarcity creates value. This shows masculine energy at its most effective calm. Patient, self contained. Many men think a kiss proves success, yet success is never defined by purely physical results. It's measured in emotional impact. Be the man she thinks about the next morning, not the man who rushed to finish the night. Because when you leave something unspoken, something unfinished, it creates emotional gravity. And emotional gravity is what pulls people closer over time. You must trust the process. Trust your presence. Trust that attraction doesn't need to be forced to be real. This is how high value men attract women naturally, by allowing moments to mature instead of squeezing them for reassurance. Don't mistake patience for passivity. Patience is control. Patience is confidence. Patience signals that you are not ruled by impulse, and that message lands deeply. Masculine energy is never noisy. It never hurries. It never overextends it. Pauses, trusting that the proper moment appears naturally so close. The night smoothly close. It kindly close it with confidence, not desperation. Because when she feels secure, respected, and curious, at once attraction develops without tension. That is how you draw women in without attempting to impress them. That is how a high value man becomes noticeable without over explaining himself. And remember, this mystery is not muteness, it is intention. It is knowing when to move forward and when to create distance. Be the man who understands that the strongest moments are often the ones that do not need to occur. Yet that is masculine energy expressed correctly. Section 9. Master the stoic discipline of self-growth. Attraction is never about witty lines, clever tactics, or forcing attention. It is always about who you are becoming when nobody is observing, because women are naturally drawn to men who are progressing. Men who are evolving, men who carry purpose and direction. And this is where timeless stoic insight quietly separates boys from men. Stoicism was never about suppressing feelings or acting numb. It is about governing your responses, choosing composure over disorder, and focusing steadily on what you truly control. Because as Epictetus reminded us, we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. When you stop seeking approval and constant reassurance, When your emotional state no longer rises or drops based on a woman's reaction, something powerful begins beneath the surface, something she senses before she can even define it. Because calm confidence is felt, not explained. Modern life pulls men in 1,000 directions. Notifications, noise comparison, and endless distraction. But the man who builds an iron mind stands apart, steady in storms, grounded in himself. And this is the essence of Stoicism. Win in real life, read books that sharpen your thinking. Train your body to carry strength and discipline. Set goals that demand patience. Practice stillness in a loud world. Remove habits that drain your focus and replace them with rituals that build you. Because as Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This is not about impressing anyone today. It is about becoming undeniable tomorrow when you are centered. When your life has structure, when your days have purpose. Women notice without you asking them to, because desire follows direction. Not desperation. Repeat this truth until it settles into your bones. Attraction follows growth. Attraction follows calm. Attraction follows self-respect. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that the man who governs himself needs no external control, and the man who needs no approval becomes magnetic by default. Build your iron mind through discipline, reflection, and consistent action. And you will feel the shift not only in how women respond to you, but in how you walk, how you speak, and how you decide. This is Stoicism when applied to modern life. This is how you master yourself before you ever try to master connection. Become better daily, become steadier daily, grow quieter within, while your presence becomes stronger without trying. That is the path, that is the discipline, that is how a man converts self-growth into quiet attraction and builds a life that naturally earns respect, desire, and opportunity without pursuing any of them. If you have stayed until this point, realize this attraction never begins with her. It begins with the man you choose to become. Most men never choose that path. They chase attention instead of strengthening themselves. They look for approval instead of mastering their responses. You no longer operate that way, so prove it. Now, go to the comments and write this line with focus and resolve. I am becoming the calm, disciplined man who needs no approval. Remind yourself daily that when you master yourself, desire follows effortlessly. Section 10. Create psychological tension through presence. Psychological tension is never a trick you force. It is a presence you naturally carry. This is where many men fail because they mistake effort for impact, attention for attraction, and noise for real connection. So never rush, never over-explain. Never attempt to impress through excessive words when composed. Silence already communicates more true desire, expands in the space you give, not the pressure you place, and that space forms when you remain grounded, patient, and completely present, which is a timeless truth of female psychology. Be composed, be deliberate. That is how tension forms. The men women feel magnetically drawn to are not those filling every silence with stories, compliments, or restless energy. They are the ones who sit comfortably in stillness, who listen without interrupting, and speak slowly with clear intention. Because when your words are limited, they gain gravity. And when your reactions stay controlled, she feels both safe and intrigued. Understand this deeply. Psychological tension is the balance between warmth and restraint, between showing interest and refusing to chase approval. And that balance is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you can master. If you want to understand how to fall in love without losing your center, don't lean forward emotionally before she does. Don't rush to respond. Just to prove interest, be present instead. Hold eye contact a second longer. Pause before you speak. Let your body language say, I'm here, I'm steady, I'm not in a hurry. Because that calm confidence creates a subtle pull that words cannot replicate. This is how female psychology responds when she senses that you are comfortable within yourself. Not seeking validation, she begins to lean in emotionally, mentally, and eventually physically. Because curiosity is born from what is not fully revealed. That is why overinvesting kills attraction. It removes mystery, collapses tension, and signals urgency, while restraint signals value clarity and self-respect. You must be intentional. You must be disciplined. That is how psychological tension stays alive. Use silence as a tool, not a fear use. Listening as an advantage, not a passive act. Speak when it matters. Stop talking when it doesn't. This is not manipulation. It is mastery of presence. One of the most timeless psychology tricks rooted deeply in female psychology and essential to understanding how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, mutual, and powerful when you master this. She doesn't feel pushed. She feels drawn. She doesn't feel chased. She feels curious, and that quiet pull built through presence and restraint is what makes her want more without you ever having to ask for it, Section 11. Speak less, feel more. Section 11, speak less. Feel more begins with a simple truth most men overlook. Attraction is not built by saying more, it is built by meaning. More so, don't try to impress her. Impress yourself first, because when your standards rise, your presence changes, and that shift is immediately felt. Don't rush your words. Speak slowly with pauses with intention. Silence is not empty, it is loaded. And when you are comfortable inside that silence, you project calm assurance, the kind that makes people lean in rather than tune out a high value. Man understands that words are not used to prove worth, but to express clarity. And that clarity is deeply attractive. Be present in the moment instead of performing for approval. Because presence is felt before it is understood. Don't brag, don't overshare, don't narrate your life like a resume, hoping she will be impressed. That approach pushes energy outward and drains tension. Instead, pull inward. Listen fully, let her finish her thoughts. Hold eye contact. Nod, respond with fewer words but better ones. That is how you attract women without chasing attention when you speak from that grounded place. Your voice naturally slows your tone, softens, and your words carry weight because they are connected to emotion rather than ego. Masculine energy is not loud, it is steady. It does not seek validation. It assumes value and lets others discover it at their own pace. Be aware of how you feel before you speak. That is where most men lose control. They talk to escape nervousness, to fill space, to manage discomfort. Don't do that, sit with the feeling. Instead, breathe. Let it settle when you speak. After that pause, something changes your words. Land differently, they linger. That is why a high-value man stays in her mind long after the conversation ends. Not because he said more, but because he made her feel more. Feeling is memory. Emotion is connection. This is how you attract women without pressure or persuasion. You must understand this clearly. Speaking less is not about being distant or cold. It is about being intentional. And intention sharpens masculine energy in a way that feels natural and reassuring. Don't explain everything. Leave space for curiosity. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her sense depth instead of being handed answers. When you do this consistently, you stop trying to create attraction and start allowing it to form on its own, which is exactly how a high value man moves through interactions. Be calm, be selective, be emotionally present. That is how you speak less and feel more. That is how your words change texture, your silence gains gravity, and your presence becomes unforgettable. This is not performance, this is alignment. And when you align this way, you don't just attract women, you stay with them in their thoughts long after the moment has passed. Section 12. Reinforce her safety, not just her interest. Attraction that lasts is never built on excitement alone. It is built on trust, and trust is built through safety before a woman can feel desire. She must feel at ease before she can open emotionally. She must feel grounded in your presence. That means every action you take, every pause you hold, every word you choose must quietly communicate one message. You are safe with me. Safety is not softness, it is strength under control. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy, meaning real power is calm, measured, and steady, not reactive, not rushed, not needy in modern life where people are overwhelmed, distracted, and constantly guarded. The man who moves slowly listens fully and stays emotionally grounded, separates himself from the noise when a woman feels you are not trying to take from her, impress her, or rush her. Her nervous system relaxes, her defenses soften, and interest grows naturally. This is old Stoic wisdom in action. Stoicism teaches mastery of self before mastery of outcomes. That is why reinforcing safety means keeping your word, respecting boundaries without complaint, staying consistent in tone and behavior, and never forcing emotional moments. Pressure kills attraction. Presence deepens it. As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Meaning the man with an iron mind does not chase reactions. He creates stability. Stability creates trust. Trust unlocks desire in practice. This means you lead conversations without interrogating. Allow silence without filling it with insecurity. Show interest without obsession and remain composed even when she pulls back. Paradoxically, the moment she feels no emotional risk around you is the moment curiosity appears, and curiosity is the doorway to desire. This is why Stoicism win is not about tricks or manipulation, but about becoming the man whose emotional discipline makes others feel safe to be themselves. Women do not open to intensity, they open to certainty. Certainty comes from a man who knows himself, governs himself, and does not outsource his confidence to validation. Reinforce safety with your posture, your pacing, your patience, your reliability, and your calm reactions. Every time you respond instead of react, every time you stay grounded instead of defensive, you send a signal stronger than words. That signal says you are emotionally secure, which makes her feel emotionally secure when safety is present. Attraction does not need to be forced. It rises on its own. This is how an iron mind wins in modern dating. Through old Stoic wisdom, through Stoicism. Win principles through becoming the man whose presence feels like clarity in a chaotic world. Steady, reliable, and quietly powerful. If this message resonates with you, take a second to like this video, share it with the man who needs this reminder, and subscribe for more grounded, real-world wisdom. Attraction isn't about pressure, it's about presence. It's about making her feel calm, seen, and safe around you. So drop a comment right now and lock this belief into your mind. Comment to remember, I create safety and attraction follows naturally. Section 13. Attraction is energy, not effort. Attraction is not something you manufacture by trying harder. It's something you broadcast by becoming calmer, clearer, and more grounded in who you are, because real desire responds to energy long before it responds to words. And that is where most men get it wrong. Don't chase chasing leaks. Tension be still stillness creates gravity. That is the core of these psychology tricks that actually work in real life, not in fantasy. When you chase, you communicate need without saying a word, and female psychology is exquisitely sensitive to that signal. Even when a woman isn't consciously aware of it, she doesn't feel pulled toward effort. She feels pulled toward presence. That is why trying to convince her, impress her, or win her over almost always backfires. You don't persuade attraction. You invite it. Be relaxed in your body. Be slow in your movements. Be deliberate with your words. That is how energy shifts in a room. That is how interest quietly forms. This is not about tricks you perform. It's about alignment you maintain. Don't over-explain. Over-explaining smells like approval. Seeking be concise, be comfortable with silence. Silence is not empty, it's charged. That is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks because silence forces her to feel, instead of analyze an attraction, lives in feeling, not logic. Understand this clearly. Effort tries to control the outcome energy. Allows the outcome when you focus on how to fall in love or how to make her fall in love. You paradoxically push it away because love grows in space. Not pressure, female psychology responds to emotional safety mixed with emotional tension. And that combination only exists when a man is at ease with himself. You must stop measuring every interaction. You must stop scanning her face for approval. Be present. Be grounded. That is where confidence is born. Attraction is not about doing more, it's about needing less when you are fulfilled without her validation. She feels free to desire you instead of feeling responsible for your emotions. That distinction matters more than any line tactic or strategy. Don't perform. Performers seek applause, be authentic. Authenticity radiates certainty. That certainty is felt before it is understood, which is why these psychology tricks work even when a woman says she's not interested. Interest is fluid. Energy changes it. Female psychology is dynamic, not fixed, and desire often follows the man who stays centered while others overextend. If you want to understand how to fall in love without losing yourself, start here. Fall in love with your own rhythm, your own pace, your own standards. That inner alignment is magnetic. That is attraction without force. That is effort replaced by presence. That is when she leans in. Not because you push, but because your energy made space for her to want to. All right, my friend, before you go, let me leave you with this. You don't need approval to have power. You don't need interest to feel worthy when you become emotionally centered. Calm in your purpose and fulfilled from the inside out, attraction happens naturally. Not because you chased it, not because you forced it, but because confidence without need is impossible to ignore. So the next time a woman doesn't seem interested, don't shrink, don't chase, don't get bitter. Smile, stand tall, keep moving forward. Quiet strength always gets noticed in time. Thank you for spending these moments with me today. If this message shifted the way you see yourself, hit the like button so more men can hear it. Drop a comment and tell me which idea you're going to apply first. I read every single one, and if you haven't subscribed yet, join us here because we don't teach tricks. We teach transformation. Remember, this attraction isn't something you do, it's who you become. Stay strong, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next video.